Hey guys, so I wanted to talk about something very important. I just started watching a really good series, called, Ca- what is it, Carter's Wars, but Ivan Carter, goes around Africa, but it's a series where he investigate crime scenes of animals dead or locals or people that are native that have been having animal issues, animal problems, that is. One of the ones I watched, and I thought this was really important. Unfortunately, throughout time, lions and people, I would say, are they're I wouldn't say enemy. I mean, they're at war right now. We're at war with the king of the jungle. And the reason I'm stating this is because a couple of the episodes, um, it's so important, to know what conservation is, and really what we never give animals and what they take from us. Really, what we take from them and what they take from us. Now, through tribes in Kenya, one of the biggest things about people that are in tribes, that don't live in the city, but on the outskirts of where these carnivores are, like right at, like the tribes are like dead center in the middle, where they actually have to put up, bra, broho, bros or whatever, but they're these, barricades made used with thorns, but it surrounds where predators can't come in and kill livestock. But brambles at times do not work, meaning that those animals can easily jump these barriers and still get access to the livestock. Now, unfortunately for these people, um the when an animal preys on their livestock, money they lose money, and they also, a lot of them describe, they lose things within their family, which is it's struggling to get back in return. And obviously lions are to blame for that. Any predatory animal is blamed for that, but lions are one of the ideal animals in Africa that, unfortunately, and it's not unfortunate for them, they are hungry. The and lions, we all know, very rarely travel alone. But I never told you all this before, but sometimes we're the result, 100, like 96%, maybe even higher at this point. We are the result why there's a single male out there and that male is not with his family. We kill off that pride. Man kills off for pride, where lions take for the kill. But I always stated that what, or really stated, if humans can kill families, even if it's our own kind, or it's something, if it's something that involves an animal, it is crucial as hell that we're we're asking to survive. Animals can't ask to survive without physically going out and surviving. But humans have that ability where we can communicate that. This is what we need to survive. This is what we need to thrive. Animals do it by instinct. They do it they do it so much better through instinct than humans. But unfortunately, lions are one of the animals, at least one of the big animals that results into going, as I said, tribes building huts, building their villages in the middle of wildlife terrain. It is a challenge, but the thing is, where they survive, you have to think about the animals they raise. Cows and goats and sheep are all sacred to them, meaning that they don't kill their livestock unless, but they often go through rituals where they will, but it's a sacrifice. It's more of a tradition for them. But there is, I mean, as I said, these animals are used for chores, are used for growing crops, so they rely on these animals as things in America we call food. We call food, but also in agriculture, we also use these animals, but not, I feel like, not as reliable as villages in Africa. These animals are for farming, are for, the children that are born. These animals are more of a comfort to the children, and the children gravitate towards the cattle, the sheep, because they're sacred. They're a sacred thing that children are born with, is being in a village surrounded by cattle, sheep, goats. But when things go take a really dangerous and bloody turn where there's predators around that area, and back then people were able to hunt these predators by tradition, meaning that they would pursue the animal, kill the animal. But since tradition has changed over centuries, they can only now defend what they've lost. Defending, especially these lions, because the thing is, when carnivorous animals like an apex, like a lion or something, that travels in a pride, and it's so close to your home, to your village, and those lions are going to come back. It could be the same, more than likely it could be the same pride, but they're killing, because a lion is not just going to leave with one cow or one donkey. But it impacts wildlife and it impacts people, what we lose and what lions lose to survive. And that's what makes it so challenging and hard, because Another episode I watched of this show involved Ivan investigating a case where a man lost his donkey, that he had seen, that actually he didn't know what had happened, but the donkey supposedly had run off. But it was due to lions. They had found, so they didn't find the donkey right off the bat. They found a whole track and dragging, a whole drag line of where the lions dragged the donkey. So the donkey was prey to the lions, and was getting chased by lions more than likely. But there was a case, one of the cases where the lions had stopped, and this was before they found the donkey, but the lions were pursuing this donkey, and you could see in one of the crime scenes they were locked on that donkey. So they end up, but Ivan was accompanied by one of the best trackers that he's ever met, and this guy was, I mean, unbelievable. He could point tracks from the road from as Ivan was driving, um of about, because the thing is, another big thing is, you don't have to always look for tracks to indicate a dead animal, but if you see vultures on trees, or they're circling, you just have to look in the sky, and those vultures are real, because they're going to be the first ones right on that kill, because they can see above the air where there's a dead animal. And that's exactly what you have to look for, is if there's a dead animal around, just look for vultures. But vultures will clean an animal, and as you saw, what had happened was, the first crime scene, there was a dead lion. It was, I'm pretty sure, a young male. That's right. Ivan had saw this dead male lion. But the vultures were already at this lion, so the vultures were already there. Um, but a lot of people don't know, but to indicate an age of a lion, actually, if it's a male lion, it has nothing to do with the mane, but it actually has to do with the two canine teeth, but you have to look for ridges. But that's what's going to determine the age of a lion. If it's a mature male, a young male, a young female, a young mature female lioness, but it actually has to do with the teeth. If there's ridges on the teeth. Um, but as I said, lions are one of those animals. I mean, I will say there's animals in America that definitely do the same thing. We want to defend our livestock because we don't want them to go missing, but we don't consider We don't consider livestock as sacred as some cultures do. Because it's almost like, for us, we find dogs and cats. They're animals that are loyal to us in America, in other parts of the world. Whereas places in Africa, like villages and tribes, they rely more. I mean, like cattle, sheep, and goats are animals that are sacred to them by having them as pets, working animals. But these animals going on about their daily lives, doing what some breeds of dogs can do, like, but different livestock in these tribes they have donkeys pull supply carts. um but unfortunately, they're the second episode I watched, so the one that I watched about the missing donkey, it was sad. It was incredibly sad, but you can't blame either side. You can't blame the predator, and you cannot blame the farmers who've lost livestock. Unfortunately, we can't blame anybody in this case. But Ivan, the thing is, his reaction when they found the donkey, because when they found the donkey was already dead, and the lions were feeding on that donkey. But when they were leaving the kill, I think it was 2 miles up the road, they started to smell this really bad rotting smell. And in front of a tree, the tracker and Ivan spotted three dead. So it was the whole pride, except for the one male that actually dragged the donkey. But the thing is, the fact of the matter is that so the pride this male was with that pursued the donkey lost his pride due to us, because every one of those lions, the lionesses, and there was another male in that pride, they were all snared. And that was us. That was people. I mean, as I said, when a village loses one animal, and it's they focus so much on that animal being a part of the family, something they would not get at a super. I mean, yes, they do sell meat. You can butcher your animals, but these animals are more sacred than we consider cows in America. But when these people went out, but Ivan was furious. He was gonna drive back. Well, he did. He drove back to the village and wanted to confront whoever snared these lions and killed them. But the male that had killed the donkey was still out there, meaning that he was the only one surviving in that pride. So he was definitely there and witnessed his. I mean, as I said, there was multiple snares around that one area 2 miles from where the donkey was killed. So I feel like the Pride had already killed the donkey, and then they moved on, and that's when the Pride fell into the snare. There was two lionesses caught in a snare, and there was, I think, like he said, like six were set. So these we destroyed this. I mean, people. Well, the villages destroyed this Pride because one animal going missing, one animal being killed, it's money and it's food going out the door that can't be eaten. It would be the same thing if we were to kill a lion and bring that dead lion back into the village and eat it. And that's where wildlife and I feel like conservation, is a really big motivator because we don't respect wildlife. I mean, for us people, we have grocery stores. We can get meat that's already made and processed without doing any of the butchering. But if we choose survival over, if we didn't have that opportunity to go to grocery stores, we'd be living just like some of these animals. We would have to chase after what we kill, grow what we needed to grow. Because a big majority of it is hunting, growing. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, not really, but unrelated, but the Pokemon thing that's going on. It's like you're telling me that people do not care about other people. Instead, they pay money and want money on cardboard. Cardboard that's very decorative. But they would destroy people, hurt people just to get it. I'm careful really of I mean, if I ever saw what I've seen on YouTube, I mean, their scalpers are like flies, multiple flies swarming around a pile of elephant shit. The air, I mean, people are just swarming. I mean, Costco, I feel like gets it pretty hard. They're one of the biggest stores that I've heard these attacks occur, or really these swarms occur with scalpers. Is like Costco's one of the biggest stores. But it's better to live your life naturally than not at all. And if you have to dump whatever's in your cart to do so, those are the smartest people on the fucking planet, as far as I'm concerned. But unfortunately, I'm not at all. I hate to say it, but If I had to choose someone I love over Pokemon cards, honestly, if I knew somebody in my life was in danger or we were just typically going over to the Pokemon section and I saw that bullshit and I had a whole pile of shit in my hand and I saw one of the people I love being around getting pushed to the ground, I would throw those products right behind me and I would state, take that fucking cardboard. And I would approach them and I would state, you ever push somebody in my life again due to something so stupid and selfish, it it really, people often focus so much on the value of something than someone. And these scalpers will give the worst excuses. Oh, well, I have kids at home too. BS. Bullshit. You're saying that because you want to walk out the door immediately. And I'm not afraid to be a hard ass either or a jerk to these people. If I see one of my friends getting pushed to the ground or getting hit, you bet your ass I would react. I'd probably chuck one of those collection boxes, or as I said, I would take matters in my own hands and remove whoever in my life was hit out of that. I might even go all above and say I'm gonna sue the store if they didn't do anything about it. And there's surveillance cameras too in stores. So they'll be able to catch whatever happens on camera. I mean, I've had my phone in my drawer all day today. I even left it at home yesterday when I went to Dollar General with my mom last night. But 2 days, actually, technically one full day, is not enough to end an addiction. When you end an addiction to technology, it has to happen at that time. It has to happen now and forever. Because addiction doesn't just come in what you consume in your body, but addictions can be things that that are associated with behavior and control. But that's the thing is with addiction, to stop it, controls one of the motivators and determination. And no one ever, a lot of the times, will see that their addictions could be screwing them over from being around people, which addictions typically have that effect. But again, between nature, I will say the fact that we have animals as our primary rivals, it hurts those who love animals and respect them. I don't ever get mad at animals. I mean, I do. I mean, there's animals that definitely could, definitely you can train animals, but unfortunately, one of the ways we cannot treat animals is speaking. It'd be awesome if they could speak to us and explain to us what their needs are, what their values might hold, but unfortunately, there's no way of us knowing except through body language and sometimes the sound of their vocal noises. Most of the time, their vocal noises, their body language, but those are two indications, or really two things they associate with their instincts. But one of the most heartful things that I feel like this tribe already, I would say the man who I feel like, was talking about his donkey, the donkey that disappeared. Probably, I mean, I don't know exactly, but I think he knew that that if he didn't, I mean, that's the thing is it's more of a traditional, or really that if one animal is lost and they know it's a group of animals that is responsible for the loss of something like a cow, pride, a clan, it perishes the value of how these people um perishes the value of these animals meaning to those people, especially the children. But that's the thing is when these animals want food, they're coming right, they're either coming in, and that's where the defending happens. Especially there's children, but that's the thing is that these animals, lions, show their predatory behavior at nightfall. That's where their full killer instinct comes in. But another key thing is since we can go out and trap animals, if something we hold so deeply is gone, unfortunately it happens to us, but we're not victims of it either. Like we're not all we're not at all victims. Are we at fault at time? I would say we're definitely at fault for a lot of it. Animals know how to get out of it, even if the limit of food is very low, because we injure animals because we think they're a threat. Missing teeth, decaying teeth. That's all on a bullet through the teeth. That is gonna destroy an animal on what they can consume. We're consuming animals by harming, and they're consuming us because we harm them. But I will say I've had many questions getting asked, why do you play hunting games? I play hunting games because that is, yes, set in a similar world, but a lot of the species on hunting video games are not as protected as other animals. And there was even a time where games had tags for animals, meaning that there was some games you would have to like actually get the required tag through in-game currency to go out and hunt. One of those games I played back in the day was the first Dangerous Hunts game, where it wasn't like any other Dangerous Hunts game. This was more of the story mode. You would hunt the required animal, or if you were to go and do a free hunt, you would have to only you could only go after the tagged animal. You couldn't go ahead and shoot anything else but your target animal. And that's what I've done. I mean, I literally got 3 deer, 3 red deer the other night, but I had made sure that I set animals I was going after. Now, if I see an opportunity with like a bird, like a turkey, then yes. If the turkey's in the same reserve, for me, I try really hard. If I'm hunting an animal, I'm going to go after that target animal. And if I see any smaller animal, like smaller game on that reserve I'm hunting the target animal on, then yes, I might track it. If I know I have a certain number, like for me, the what is it? The quantity of how many of the target animal I want ranges about from 2 to 3. And if they make a trophy, great. But I'm not looking for the best in a trophy. Sometimes for me, I mean, and it's not because I mean, it's not like a guitar or a guitar pedal. You just like the color. It's better off if it's a pedal you want. Actually, you might not even want it. But actually using the pedal very first, seeing if you like it. You like the tone it gives, but that's what I've gotten taught is just because you see something, you want to make sure you before any of that, like a guitar pedal, you want to make sure you test it out before you decide, oh well, this is the pedal I want, or I love the sound. But it's the sound that you like that comes from that pedal and connects to the amp. It's not about the color. It's not about what because for me, I have a lot of pedals, and some I think are kind of they are a bit better than others. Some I like more than others, but But really, that's the thing is when it comes to guns in the game, I have to make sure not and for me it's not so much the sound, but when you use so if you use a rifle, because the thing is the rifles are the rifle, but it's the bullets that make more of the impact on the animals you can hunt, ranging from animals by classes. So, for example, class one would be animals like a rabbit, like different species of rabbit. Your class two animals would be something like a fox, or maybe even a low level coyote. Third class would be something along the lines of like things like actually coyotes might even fit class three, but like jackals, different species of wolves. But going on about that is that if you use too strong of a bullet, there is chances, I mean, really, there is ways you can damage that trophy rating. So the gold, silver, diamond are ratings. They are not um but that's the thing is if you use there's no such thing as using the wrong caliber, but if you use a too strong of a bullet, that bullet that is going into the animal could damage it. It could damage the trophy, um, and it could drop the rating. Whereas in real life, I would never go out and hunt for any, for trophy purposes or anything like that. If hunting, I would do it for food, or if I didn't have a grocery store, or there was not even a grocery store resource by me, then I might result into gathering ingredients, in nature, and that includes survival, meaning I hunting for animal. But other than that, the other episode I watched was so kind of a similar situation. Unfortunately, these lions had a different cause of death. Um, and it was so there was no lion that went out alive in this episode, but another big thing. So this was another tribe in Kenya. They use a lot of the defending skill to protect their herd. Like these people in Kenya are very, very defensive against, and they're right there herding the cattle, herding them and things like that. So they're right there when, predators want to take or really want to take an animal. But these warriors in this village, I mean, they have these spears they make, and these knives that they have holsters from in their pocket. So like even a lion, I feel like would, I mean, yes, lions would struggle. And the thing is, these tribes in Kenya would traditionally, before defending, they would go, and if actually if an animal's killed a cow, they would go out and pursue that animal until it was dead. But that's the traditional way of how they would go about a predator, whereas now they defend, because that's the thing. Can it really is when you the defending results into that animal not being, I mean, yes, it could be pursued, but if that animal keeps coming in, it's more of a problem, because then the more defending that tribe has to do. And attacks can happen subtle and they can happen quick. But defending doesn't just protect really so much us, but it protects that animal's uh, survival rate. Meaning that if we go ahead and kill more lions, it could drop the population by a lot. But this episode also consists of a whole pride, because what these people do in Kenya is, if they want to repel a predatory problem, this tribe will do it like within minutes. But there is a poison, but it's a blue powder, which at market it's like $2.50, which they don't call it there in certain markets, but it's a poison that you put, on a dead animal, but it's used in agriculture. But for a dead cow, you sprinkle that on a dead cow that the lions previously were feeding on. But that's another thing is, this tribe in Africa, like they can clear problems out within seconds, within minutes. Um, but the powder doesn't just it doesn't just what is it, support agriculture, but unfortunately it kills the predators who feast on it, because it's a poison to them. It's something, as I said, they will use to repel and eliminate a problem right then and there on the spot. But the poison is typically when the animal, the cow is already dead, and those lions come back and feast on it. You'll have somebody go out there, and or even if they find a cow that had died through a predator, they will sprinkle that blue substance, that blue poison in the cattle. And obviously it's a poison, so once those lions go up to the kill and eat the cow, they're taking in those toxins, they're taking in that powder, and that's what kills them. But they say it takes about a minute, or more than a minute, to take in effect and kill these lions. And poison is something that kills you from the inside, Whereas venom kills you through ejection, through spread. But toxins also, so neurotoxins can be in venom, meaning that the venom is injected and a neurotoxin spread into your bloodstream. But again, no, in that, and now, you know, humans had to step in and place fences along where the tribe is and where predators, you know, obviously line being drawn, wildlife are out there and then we're kept in that area, but there's a barrier that protects people and protects animals, predatory animals like lions, because lions, and humans, I mean, go to war, and it's unfortunate that it is that way, but